Welcome back to These Things Are Written on this Thursday. Glad you are joining us as we continue to look at 1 Thessalonians, starting with chapter 3, looking at verses 1 through 5 today. Remember, so far, Paul has been reviewing the history that he has with them, reminding them of how he came in humility and how they accepted his words from him as words from God, and how they believed. Let's continue now, verses 1 through 5 of chapter 3. Therefore, when we could not bear it any longer, we were willing to be left behind at Athens alone. And we sent Timothy, our brother and God's co-worker in the gospel of Jesus Christ, to establish and exhort you in your faith, that no one be moved by these afflictions, for you yourselves know that we are destined for this. For when we were with you, we kept telling you beforehand that we were to suffer affliction, just as it has come to pass, and just as you know. For this reason, when I could bear it no longer, I sent to learn about your faith, for fear that somehow the tempter had tempted you, and our labor would be in vain. This is the word of the Lord. When Paul and Timothy and Silas had left Thessalonica, they had left some work undone. They needed to leave quickly because of the accusations against them, and they weren't sure if the church there was ready to be left alone. Paul had warned them of the problems, of the difficulties. He calls them the afflictions that would come to him, and it happened. They saw it with their own eyes of how he was charged and how many people desired him to be harmed. So after they left, they went to, if you remember, to Berea and then to Athens. But Paul went to Athens alone after he sent Timothy and Silas back up to Thessalonica to check on them. It seems that Paul was kind of the lightning rod from there, right? That he was the person that would cause all of the struggles and the difficulty. He couldn't help but open his mouth when challenged by people, challenged with the gospel, with false teachings, and his desire to share the gospel, which turned many people away, but turned many people to the faith. So now Paul was staying put, and he was sending his co-workers, Timothy and Silas, back to Thessalonica to check on them and probably to finish some of the work that he had given to them. He sent them to see how they were doing, if they had fallen away from the faith, or if they were standing strong, what they needed to learn more, or what was already, or if it had established strong enough. This shows Paul's heart, doesn't it? He wasn't worried about his own comforts, the comforts that would come from having company in Athens, Timothy and Silas, when he went to confront the people of Athens about the gospel. Instead, he forgot about his comfort. First of all, to share the gospel. Second of all, to make sure that they were okay. He was concerned about their faith, the most important thing. That was his concern. And that should be our concern as well, about the faith that God has given to us and to those that we know, that we all might be strengthened in this faith and trust in our God to life everlasting. May God guide this to each of us for the sake of Jesus, our Savior. We'll see you back here tomorrow as we continue to look at 1 Thessalonians chapter 3, and we see Timothy, what happened when Timothy returned to Paul. God bless. We'll see you then.